Morning, everybody. It is 8:11 a.m., March 11th. Welcome to my channel. Yesterday, I had a nice little doctor's appointment, and it looks like my good old heart is going to get a procedure, which is going to help me. It's called an ablation. Can't wait for that to happen and return to more of a normal, non-debilitating life. So that's a good thing. All right. So these markets, of course, a day that I'm not trading has the biggest one-day drop. Um, it's amazing. So big drop. Now we're bouncing today. It's probably expected to have that many selling days in a row. You're finally going to get a bounce. I think people thought they were going to get a bounce yesterday, but the market had other ideas. All right. Now today I'm taking my daughter to the bus, so we're going to do a little more of an express version today. So let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use Find Profile and market profile to find structure in the markets, long supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. Also, I use my market internals to find what's going on under the hood in the markets, and I try to impart that knowledge on you. All right, so every day you can join me. All right, do this around 8 o'clock, around that time, and I give you the story of the markets, the leaders and the laggards, the market news, and we get into the long and short trade scenarios. Now, if you so happen you want to follow me on X, do that, and you can see me at Gonzo719. Also TikTok at Gonzo719Trader. And of course, you can come join me on the Discord server, Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage and join the community. I'm trying to build that. So hopefully you come join me. Okay. Now let's get right into the futures watch list today. Let's see what's moving markets, because we're bouncing. Let's check it out together. Bitcoin's leading, up 3.28%. Ethereum's up 1.39, silver's up 1.28, crude's up 1.11, 10-year yield's up 0.74, Russell's up 0.72, gold up 0.64, Nasdaq up 0.17, ES up 0.13. The Dow's only up 0.09, 30-year bonds being sold tiny bit, dollar is down 0.42, and the VIX is down 0.43%. The VIX is at a 27. Wow. Wow. All right, moving on. Max 7 Plus. No surprise, Coinbase leading with Bitcoin. Okay, Tesla's been getting battered, and it's up 1.49. AMD still holding under 100, up 1%. Broadcom up 0.91. Okay, who's our laggard today? It is Eli Lilly, has taken a big haircut lately, and Apple's down 0.65. All right, moving on to sectors. Sectors. All right. Now remember, I've been watching crude, so energy is the leader today. All right, followed by, they're up 0.75, followed by semis up 0.66, followed by financials, followed by basic materials, utilities, discretionary, and then there's no laggard today. That makes sense. Such a big sell-off yesterday, and you're bouncing a little bit. You know, that's how that's going. All right, we can move on to the economic calendar and news. Let's do that. I'm gonna introduce a new chart to you guys. Give me a second here. Let's pull up that economic calendar for today. All right. Today we have Jolts Jobs and API crude. Does this time change on me? Yep. Oh, forgot to do the update for the time. No, that's not right. No, that's not right. That's right. Yep, that's right. Time now. That's for daylight savings. I haven't updated that, so I said that that was wrong on my card I had on YouTube. I had 9 a.m. This is 10 a.m. for Jolts Jobs, 4:30 for API crude, and tomorrow we got CPI. All right, so that's economic calendar. Now let's go to some news. So Trump meets with corporate America as economic fears nip stocks. He's meeting with CEOs of biggest companies. Meta begins testing its first in-house AI training chip. U.S. airline stocks tumble as Delta's forecast cuts cut spooks investors. Retailer Kohl's forecast bigger than expected drop in annual sales. There's your retail. Oracle gives strong long-term growth outlook on AI. And let's see here. Anything else in the news besides a big? Yeah, I saw Coinbase is going to open up in India, or they did. We talked about Delta Airlines. Um, let's see here. See, Walt Disney, a California federal jury said on Monday that the company's hit film Moana did not infringe on artist copyrights related to the planned animated movie about a teenage hero in ancient Polynesia. Okay. All right, there's that. Let's see what we got here. Like I said, we talked about that, so we don't have to go into that. Let's see if the juice has got something for us. Let's just refresh it. Go to the risk. Anything. Talked about the Trump meeting with USL, just trying to see if there's anything. I know Trump kind of said they're hinted towards there might be a recession, and what they're doing now is going to lead to prosperous economy later on. So he's actually kind of honestly doing the right thing. We need this, much as it stinks. We need to right the ship here. So that is your news. All right. Now let's look real quick. Hopefully you guys can see it. So I've been working on these RRG charts. All right. Actually was able to just code this bad boy. So let's do, hold on a sec. I'm going to do this real quick. I want to show you guys the first one. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to pull it up. All right. So RRG chart, it just shows where sectors are rotating. Okay. So real quick, the sector, the more to the right you go, that means that the sector is stronger than the SPY relative to the SPY. And this is over the last 30 days. Okay. Then it shows you the momentum. So the higher it goes up, that means it's gaining momentum. Okay. So to the right, in the upper right is strong, gaining momentum, right? So when a stock slips back this way, it means it's weaker. So if you see here, right, technology is weaker than the SPY. Takes discretionary and semis, all weaker. Semis is the weakest compared to the SPY. And then the strongest is staples, healthcare, real estate. Okay. And this is utilities and then energy, right? So all these recently, interesting, I guess what yesterday, financials, communications, this is in the last 30 days. So when the dot is farther, right, that means it probably made a move yesterday. Okay, so that's that, right? And then you go one layer deeper than that, and there's sub industries here, right? So you really want to dig down and see what's really moving markets. If you look at insurance, wow, look at insurance charts. They are pretty crazy, right? This is real estate. This is your EVs, right? This is like sub industries, right? ITB, home building, aerospace, defense, pharma. These are all been stronger. Lithium batteries, food and beverage, medical devices. These are all been stronger, okay? And it looks like I have two aerospaces here, but you see what's all weak, right? Software, oil and gas, services, airlines. Airlines took a hit. That's why the dot is moving this way, right? So this is just a really cool thing. And then you can look at the holdings and then devise a plan. All right. I just wanted to show these RRG charts. Are pretty cool. Now that I created my own, I don't have to go anywhere to find them. Okay. Now, moving on to dailies, right? Let's move on to those daily charts. All right. So we know we had a big sell-off yesterday, and it really didn't come to like a specific level per se to the left. Not really. Not on a candlestick chart. Not really. Right. Close on the 200 day. Now you have the anchor VWAP from last year at 542.71 and a trend line that's lining up with that. Okay, so that's something. You got a trend line all the way from way back. Oh, I'm sorry, from here. From here. Do we land there? 542 to 540? Maybe. This is kind of like in no man's land. You can see the structure here is very poor. We could definitely keep going, even if we get a bounce. Okay, where are we at now? 562. Let's call it 562. We are like right here, kind of in the lower third to mid of yesterday's session. Okay, let's look at futures real quick, just to get an idea. Okay, so that's last week's lows. So you can see we actually pushed down farther in the overnight and kind of pushed up here. So that's where we're at. Let's look at those Qs. Now the Qs came down almost to last year's anchor VWAP, 467.25. Almost last year's anchor VWAP. Pretty insane. All right. So where are we at now? 474.80. 474.80. Right there. Lower third of the session practically. Futures. You can see we made new lows, but now we're trying to push up. Okay. Now in futures, we came down to a pretty big level. I'll talk about that in a second. So I'm going to move on. I usually do triple headed monster, but I don't have the time. So you know the bond market's been basically, the yield's been falling. So even they're getting a little push today. All right, so let's move on to the main event here. And we'll look at the market profile and volume profile together. Here we go. Okay, so let's look at this together. Okay, let's look at it together. I'm going to open this up a little bit. All right. All right, so let's get my marker out. Let's look at yesterday. What did we do yesterday? What did we do yesterday? All right, so yesterday looks like we opened here, pushed up, then had some wackiness, and then ripped down and then closed back up, right? That's what it looks like we did yesterday. Okay. Now, so I don't know how that market was to trade yesterday. I didn't trade. It doesn't look like it was fun to trade that. Kind of like a mess. That's what it looked like to me. Okay, so what do we have going on this morning? Well, we are, check this out, in the mid of yesterday's session. So price is here. Here's the midpoint, 56.41. So you're right in the middle of yesterday's session. You bounced, made an overnight low down here, overnight high. There's yesterday's highs, yesterday's lows. Okay. All right. So we got a little demand zone here. And you can see we opened here. So the inventory is, there's no edge there. Most trader price of the overnight, 56.40, it looks like. Okay. Most likely, maybe getting longs in here. Okay. And let's look at what we can see here. All right, we got the most traded price of the week, 57.50. We are underneath that, right? We're underneath that level. And yesterday, what a big range. My God, 100 and almost 140 points. That's insane. All right. Now, this level here, last week's lows, 56.73. Okay. Obviously, we broke that yesterday. So, what are we looking at today? Let's see what types of levels we have. So, right here off the bat, 55.71 to 55.58. That's a confluence low. Buyers want to defend that. All right. We take a leg lower if we come down here and break that. Okay. Who knows what's going to happen? All right. Who knows what's going to happen? All right. Now, the other level I would say you'd really have to pay attention to is this area here, which would be last week's lows and the overnight highs with this high volume composite node right here. Okay. That's what I mean. You got most yesterday's most traded price here too. So this could be. We'll do scenarios here. All right. This definitely could be something here. So I'm actually going to talk about the bullish side. All right. So we know we got to defend here, bulls, and we know actually right here, most traded price of the overnight, most traded price of yesterday, right there, and price is right here. Okay. And we know I just talked about this last week's lows in this high volume node. So we're right. You can see there's three parts to this. All right. Price is right here. I'm covering it right now, but it's right here. So what could we do here? Now, one or two things can happen. We can push up into this area, pull back, and defend this most traded price of the overnight, and then break into the range of yesterday and try to hit that most traded price of the week. We get also pull back here to yesterday's most traded price. If that starts getting support, then you can try to work yourself up. Okay, and then the last defense would be if we came down here and tried to take out yesterday's lows and the overnight lows. All right, and see what you would do in here. If you can make yourself back, I don't think you would make yourself that high. You'd probably stop up here somewhere. Okay, that's the long side to the short side. To the short side. So it would just be reversed. You got your confluence low here. We got the overnight most traded price and the most traded price of yesterday, and we got the breakdown period here with the overnight lows, like I just talked about in the high volume node. So if you're a bear, right now you're right at the yesterday's midpoint. So right here, okay, if we were to go up, come through this most traded price and then through yesterday's most traded price, you're most likely going to take and test this area. Okay, now before we know, bulls can't defend it, but if you break that, yeah, we're going to go lower, maybe to 5,500. Okay, now I think we've sold off enough that that bounce, we're due for a bounce. I mean, it's happened already in the overnight, but we're definitely due. Now the second part could be, all right, let's say we push up into last week's range and we just can't find acceptance there. That also could roll us down. Okay, and that also can roll us down. So that's what I'm seeing as far as the ES. Okay, now let's move on to the NASDAQ. All right. Okay. Let's look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ came into a big demand zone yesterday. Okay. And this area is the most traded price of the last rolling year. And I've talked about this prior. I said if the NASDAQ loses, I'm just going to show you guys what I was talking about previously. That's not what I wanted to show you. This is what I want to show you. I've showed this previously, and I said these words on one of my. I go, this shelf here if the market Nasdaq loses that shelf, the next destination, I said all these are not really that great, and you have the most traded price right here of the last year, and that's where exactly we came down to. So that's not a mystery why we stopped there. Okay, so go back to the Nasdaq. I just wanted to point that out, and we look at some levels here. All right, so obviously this 19, what is this, 19, let's call it 190 and a half, is a big area. Okay, that should not be cut through easily, and you got a demand zone here. Okay, I really think the Nasdaq defends that for just now, because if you go under that, whoo, you go under that, that's a big one. Okay, so that's a very big level. All right, now look, the overnight high is at the midpoint of yesterday. The price here is actually not like the ES. Okay, it's a little relatively weaker. All right, so you do have a confluence high here. You have 196, and the overnight high becomes a confluence high. Okay, so bears want to defend that, and bulls want to break that level. Here you got last week's lows, and you can see we smashed through that and this high volume node here. Okay, so that also becomes an area of interest. So kind of similar, except you don't have that confluence low really. They're not together per se here, and you have that big level though here, big level. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up, and we're gonna get into. I forgot to put out the scenarios there for the Qs. Forgot to put that up there. All right, well, I'm gonna put it up for the Nasdaq. All right, so let's start with the bull case. Okay, so we have demand here, so we do have an area here to defend at least. All right, we do have this area, demand zone, and the most traded price of the rolling year. All right, it's a big area. I understand that. You have a demand here, and you have the most traded price of the overnight right there. Okay, then you have this confluence high with the most traded price of yesterday and the overnight high 195.83, and of course you have last week's lows and the RTH high of yesterday's highs. Okay, so same concept, a little bit different, but what you want to look for, number one, can they hold the most traded price of the overnight in this demand and try to work yourself up, break this confluence high, and see if you can make yourself back into this range. All right, let's see if that happens. Secondly, what you could do, all right, just come up, break that confluence high and hold it, and also can move higher. Okay, and then the last line is if we do test yesterday's lows, come into this big demand zone. This level is huge. This 190 and a half. Okay, that level is huge. I do believe that is support. This could be a bear trap, and then this market could probably move up here somewhere. Okay, that's the long side. Let's go to the short side. All right, just reversed. This area I believe is just a big wall. Okay, and then we have our confluence high, and we have our overnight lows and yesterday's highs. Okay, so what could happen here, all right, is number one, you come into here, you try to break that most traded price yesterday, you hit the week to date VWAP, you fail, you go through this overnight price, you're gonna fall, and this is a lot of demand in here. So I don't see us going past this. If you do, wow, that would be nuts. That would be just straight out people capitulating. Okay, I don't think that's likely. I think if we come down, we're going to come down here and bounce, right? So the other thing is the market can come all the way back up into last week's range and also just fall, and I think we'd probably hang out down here somewhere. I think that's what I'm looking at today for the markets. Okay, that's what I'm looking at today. So hopefully you enjoyed that analysis. Smash that like button for me. That would mean a lot to me. All right. Now, of course, hopefully you guys can join me every day. Let me give you the scoop, the rundown of the markets, right? And just show you how I look at the market, right? Now, this market is very volatile, not easy, not for the faint of heart, okay? We have our plan. Let's stay green. No trades to trade, all right? And, of course, I'm going to try to go live later. Most likely will. That's Confluence Trading, my Discord server. Go to my YouTube homepage and join. All right, and join, and I'll interact with you guys today. So I'll see you there. Now, everybody have a great day. If you don't see me tomorrow, you want to join my community and see me live today, go to Confluence Trading Discord on my YouTube homepage. All right, everybody, take it easy.